Hey guys, welcome back to Trading Options Network. What a day. That's all I can literally say is what a day. Man. So obviously the big story was the Nvidia earnings. Before we get into anything, obviously let's go ahead and get our disclaimer out of the way. Everything we talk about today is going to be solely my opinion, not the opinion of Trading Options Network. I'm so flabbergasted what happened today that I could barely talk, apparently. But that being said, with this information, do with it what you will. All right. So, as I had just mentioned yesterday, NVIDIA had its earnings report after the bell, and wow, I was not sure what to expect with NVIDIA earnings, only because it's gone up so much. I was like, how could it possibly go up anymore? But then again, it's been killing. It's like, I don't think it's going to go down. I don't get me wrong. I had nothing in it. I had no positions, no equity, nothing in this earnings call or whatever. But obviously, I was still very intrigued with what it was going to do because I thought that it was going to have a pretty big, um, what's the word I'm looking for right now? Pretty big, I thought it was going to be like a catalyst for the market. Okay. Like the market was going to follow what NVIDIA did. I mean, you got to remember, NVIDIA is over 5% the weight of the entire S&P. It's 500 companies, and less than 20 NVIDIAs would take up the entire S&P, to put into perspective. That's how much weight NVIDIA has on the S&P. So I was expecting for NVIDIA to be a catalyst to the S&P and the market as a whole. And whatever NVIDIA did, the market was going to follow. Definitely seemed to be the case in the very beginning of the day, and we'll get to that here in a second. Um, but I did want to also point out that we also do have the Intuit's earnings today after the bell, and they have dropped significantly, by the way. We'll get to their chart in just a moment. But what else I want to talk about, which I think ultimately was the deciding factor of the market today, were these numbers that came out. Yes, NVIDIA's earnings were massive yesterday. The stock at one point was up nearly 12%, and that's huge for a stock pushing $1,000. Um, but let's look at these numbers here. In fact, I can probably blow them up just a little bit. There we go. So, initial jobless claims, 215,000 compared to the 220,000 that was expected. Right now, the market wants to see higher jobless claims because we want to see um, signs that the market is slowing down, that inflation is going to be slowing down. And the fact that we had less jobless claims, which typically is good news, is turning out to be bad news. So good in this situation, good news is bad news, and bad news would have been good news. Also, the S&P Flash U.S. Services PMI came out hot, quite a bit hot actually. So that's not good. I wonder what the article has to say for it. Economy speeds up, S&P finds, but inflation is still a sore spot. Yes, we 100% know that. Um, New home sales also came in low. So again, that this is where actually I'm very kind of confused about with the market, because typically that's bad news. But even though I feel we should be in a good news is bad news and a bad news is good news environment, that just it only seems to be the case in some spots, like the jobless claims, for example. Um, we were expecting it to be, I, we wanted it to be higher, okay, but it wasn't. But then the new home sales comes in as quote unquote bad news, but it's acting as bad news. At least it seems like it. I guess it could technically be acting as good news, but the other numbers were just overpowering it possibly. I don't know, but nonetheless, um, it's interesting. Again, with the U.S. Services PMI, I say it's coming in hot. Again, we don't want to see the market speeding up. We don't. We want to see the market slowing. So even though typically that would be good news, the market sees it as bad news. So I don't know. It's confusing. I told someone this morning that this is probably the least confident I have been with my own analysis of the market since I started trading. Let's see here. Here's the chart for the S&P. That is a big, nasty red candle. Remember, NVIDIA, that takes up more than 5% of the entire S&P, was up at 1.12%, just under 12%. And the market wasn't even caring about that. The market sold off. Yes, it gapped up to begin the day because of the NVIDIA earnings. But almost the second that the market opened, everything started selling off. And this is one of the worst days that the market has had this year. I mean, we're only down 0.75%, technically a little bit less, but from the high of 533, excuse me, it's an $8 swing. That's about a 1.5% swing from the highs to the lows. So that's a big, big move. And everything about this chart, 99 times out of 100, would be bullish. It's screaming, be bullish. And now personally, I wasn't confident because of the inflation numbers and the CPI data the last time it came out and the PPI data the last time it came out. I just wasn't sold on this quote unquote bullishness in the market. Tomorrow, I'm not going to say concerned. I'm actually quite excited because a lot of my bears did run today. And today was a very good day for me because, again, I wasn't trusting the market. So even though I had both bulls and bears, my bulls got crushed. My bears were phenomenal. Thankfully, my bears far outweighed my bulls today. But man, I have no words to say about what this did other than the market completely ignored NVIDIA's earnings and completely sold off when it literally opened up at all-time highs. I mean, that in and of itself, you would think it would just continue to push, but it didn't. And that is just mind-boggling. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's been a time where the market opened at all-time highs and sold off like crazy, but I'd be willing to bet you'd have to go pretty far back to get it, to find something like that. And I'm not going to try and do that because, like I said, you probably have to go pretty far back. Right now, this is what I'm seeing for the market. It's very, very early on, but I feel like this is happening right now. Something along those lines where we're creating like a dome shaped top. It could potentially be like a, you know, um, Head and Shoulders. Okay. Or we're the start of a Head and Shoulders anyways. Gosh, I wish I could do more than one at a time. I probably can, but that's not what I want. Let me get rid of that. Just a line, not a vertical line. Boom, boom. All right. So we could potentially be starting, or, be at like the first half of a Head and Shoulders, in which case we might see something like this, which would still put us exactly in line with that dome-shaped top. But man, if this red bar, I mean, this is very intriguing because again, I'd be shocked if you could find in the last few years where we opened up at record highs with something, especially with the NVIDIA earnings. I mean, come on. And have it sell off all day. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. Well, let's see here. Maybe it would have been last July. And that's assuming that that was all-time highs. I'm pretty sure it was. No, it wasn't. Okay, so that was an all-time high. So no, that we can't count that. What about over here? That looks like it could have been all-time highs. But we didn't have a crazy sell-off. Now we did open up at all-time highs and didn't really run that day, but we were already consolidating a little bit. It was barely a gap up. I mean, we did sell off the following day. I don't know what happened that day, but that was literally January 2022. I mean, that's how crazy today was. Um, we'll see what happens. But I'm not gonna lie, I am getting extremely bearish. The charts still technically say be bullish. They do. We are still above the 20 and the 50-day moving average. The 20-day moving average is over the 50-day moving average. They're both sloping up. I mean, everything without this bar is screaming bullishness. And again, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this, everything about this chart was screaming be bullish. And I didn't feel that personally. And I was relatively selective on my bulls. And I was actually, like I said, I was heavily weighted more on my bears because I just didn't like the information and the data that has been coming out for the last couple of weeks. I just didn't think this was sustainable. And if today is showing me anything, it's showing me that I was right. Now, it could very easily just turn around tomorrow and be like, oh yeah, we were just testing the waters. We just wanted to see how low the bears can get it. We're here still. The bulls are still here. Don't worry. And tomorrow we could just go right back up to all-time highs. But tomorrow's a red day. And next week we start breaking below those 20 and 50-day moving averages. You have to start getting bearish. I don't care what your feelings are in the market right now, you're going to have to. We could be seeing a picture perfect head and shoulders top, or at least the beginning of it. And I'm telling you, if it comes down and it challenges these same levels around 495 or so over the next few weeks, oh, excuse me. And then we pop up and we set a new lower high and it starts reversing here. I mean, I said 480 a couple weeks ago was my target. We can go significantly below that. We could possibly start getting down to that is the 480 level. But I would not be surprised if we ran all the way down to 460, honestly. Time will tell. Time will tell. Getting into the Intuit chart, you could see Intuit's earnings were pretty bad. I don't know exactly what they posted or what they're reporting, but obviously the market didn't like it. It's down, a little over 7% right now. And this is after Nvidia just had their phenomenal earnings. So if the market's going to react on any earnings, I mean, Intuit is not Nvidia. We're talking about a company that literally increased their market cap by almost $200 billion today. I mean, that's just insane. It's insane. But $200 billion in market cap, Nvidia increased today. To put into perspective, actually, let's go back here really quick. Here we are. It literally gained an entire Intuit company today because Intuit's market cap is just under 200 billion. My God, that just speaks volumes on how big and powerful Nvidia has become, and all in a relatively short period of time. We're talking 2 years, less than 2 years. But nonetheless, Intuit, a $200 billion company, is showing weakness in their earnings. I didn't even care to look at the other ones. Tomorrow we don't really have much. Monday, not much. Tuesday, not much. The Bank of Nova Scotia is the biggest company reporting on Tuesday. Ooh, Salesforce. That's going to be a fun one. they're usually pretty volatile. So we'll see what happens with Salesforce. See a couple other big names that people probably heard of. Okta, Dix, U-Haul, Abercrombie. I mean, gosh, Abercrombie, man, where did they go? They're only a $7 billion company. When I was a kid in the 90s, early 2000s, God, that company had to have been 10 times bigger. But whatever. Let's see. Thursday, Costco. That should be fun with Dell. So we got some other big companies next Thursday. Obviously, though, earnings is pretty much over now that Nvidia is done. So yeah, don't try and be a hero. And I'm not telling you to put everything in your bears right now. I'm not. Please don't take that. I actually closed some of my bear positions today because even though I think it can continue to run, um, I was very profitable today. And you can't always let your winners just continue to run, not 100% of them. I left a lot of them on the table. Yes. They're still open, probably 80%, but I closed a few just to lock in some profits. Okay. Um, one of the red flags that I talk about is closing your winning trades too early. Again, I did not close all of my winning trades today. I didn't because I think we still have room to go down. However, closing a certain percentage of your winning trades is never a bad idea either. But yeah, I don't have anything else for you. Um, let's see. I'll just pull up NVIDIA's chart real quick. Look at that bar way the hell up there. It's insane. I mean, God, what a run, first and foremost. What a run. And yeah, it's just been sideways a little bit and then pop. It's just incredible. Let's look at I'm gonna pull up the 5 minute chart though. So as you can see yesterday, if you watched my training from yesterday during the Nvidia earnings, it took like 20 minutes for Nvidia to actually report after the bell, and then it just took off. And as you can see, it continued to go up, um, all the way up till over $1,060. Looks like it finished the day. Excuse me. Oh, gosh, finished the day at, we'll call it 1,038. Okay. I mean, still, what, just under 10%, 9.32%, as you can see here. So it's quite a run. And the fact that, again, I can't say this enough, the fact that the market did basically nothing with that is mind-boggling. Don't go out and chase Nvidia. Okay. It is so incredibly overbought right now. If it runs, it runs. Don't chase it. Don't chase it. But that being said, I don't have anything else for you guys. I hope you guys have a great trading day tomorrow. And if you're not tuning in tomorrow, have a great weekend. Take care.